Hey y'all, hey, it's Patty with Giddy Things, and I'm here to give you an update on my experiences with Zepbound prescription GLP-1 agonist, which is the Tirzepatide is the name. And I did also, I've had 3 weeks, 3 weeks, yeah, 3 weeks of the compounded tirzepatide, which, as many of you probably know by now, has had some challenges in the court system. I have another video where I talk about that. Basically, I think compounding pharmacies are having to do a lot of shifting of direction in order to find out how they may be able to continue to supply compounded Tirzepatide. I will say that the reason that I did this, and you may know this if you've been with me on the journey thus far, if you haven't, welcome. You may already know that the reason I switched from Zepbound to the compounded prescription is because I had an issue with my doctor's office and my insurance company and the prescription, and it became this big kerfuffle. My doctor's office is quite a little distance away. I am disabled and have some pain with that, so it's difficult for me to make that trip. I would have done that though, but I'm going to have a conversation with my doctor's office about how all of this transpired. But it was just causing so much unnecessary, I don't know that I would say stress, but just wanting to stay on the medication, that I went ahead and paid $250 for a month of compounded medication so that I was just paying out of pocket. I didn't need anything but the prescription. My doctor's office sent that prescription to the lovely compounding pharmacy that we used near us, and that's how that went. The difference there, of course, is that the regular Zepbound shots are preloaded in pens, where the injection is a little bit more automatic. You just click something into place, put it on your skin, press the button, and the injection occurs. It's not painful. At least it's not to me. I honor whatever experience you have had or are having, or whatever nerves that you have or apprehension that you have, but it has not been painful for me. In fact, sometimes so little so that you have to, this I think pretty common with Zepbound users, that you have to check to make sure that the needle deployed, because it just is such a tiny needle. So it's a subcutaneous shot. As always, on every occasion that something is going to impact you medically, make sure that you have your doctor's approval, that you've spoken with a doctor who knows you and whom you trust about using GLP-1 medications of any kind, tirzepatide, semaglutide, any of them. So what ended up happening was I went and got these compounded medications, but they are the kind you draw up from a vial, and they don't come in the pen, the automatic pen, which my understanding is the pen may be one of the most expensive parts of Zepbound. So I don't know how that's going to be available or what that's going to look like moving forward. So my compounding pharmacy is so kind. We're going to switch all of our medications there because they were so good to us. And it just reminded me how important having a local pharmacy is. People who grow to know you and whom you trust, and who have perhaps a smaller clientele, and they kind of keep track of you, and it becomes more of a friendship in a lot of ways. And that mutual trust is just invaluable. So I love these folks. They were so sweet. They put the little box of shots together. They did something really kind, but this was really kind too. They put the little box of shots together, and they put in cute Band-Aids and some alcohol prep pads, and they gave me one of those little fidget keychains with the little pop socket type stuff. And that's the back of the phone, the little bubbles that you can push backward and forward. So they did that, but they also did me the big favor. The thing I was the most nervous about, really, was drawing up my own shots. And that's just, I have obsessive compulsive disorder. Some of you watching this video may. It's a pretty common disorder. So, all the things, I'm going to draw up a bubble was the big thing. And it's a subcutaneous shot. There's not, if you give it in the place that you're instructed, there's not that much danger. Again, if it's medically appropriate for you and you've checked with your doctor. But, OCD, that's all I'm going to say about that for now. Maybe more videos on that later. But I did end up telling them about that. And they said, oh, it's fine. We'll draw them up for you and cap them back and get it just like we would with a vaccination. And I was so happy. That was the nicest thing. And I said, well, if I need to pay more, they're like, no, you don't need to pay more. It's, we're doing this out of friendship. Basically was what, and that's it, literally exactly what one of the ladies told me. So sweet. So the pharmacist was so kind, talked to me, ended up going to pick that up. And there's another video where I'm going through their shop because they have a little, like a lot of small pharmacies do. They have a shop with trinkets and things in it. It's really cool. I ended up buying a couple of things. So that's a great relationship that's been established. But moving forward, tomorrow, this is a Thursday, and tomorrow, of course, would be what? A Friday. Misstate the obvious, but on Friday is my doctor's appointment, bright and early, 8 a.m., way across. I'll make a video with that too. But I'm going to see the nurse practitioner. I really like her. I really like the doctor too. But so that's the person whom I'm going to see this time. And if she needs to consult with my doctor, she can always do that. But we're going to get that prescription called in with the clinical information that my insurance needs. That's where the breakdown in communication happened last time. And I really don't foresee any problems with my getting the prescription. It was never a problem until the communication between my doctor's office and my insurance broke down. And to be honest, I felt like, I don't want to say this, I'm very reluctant to say I felt like they had custody of my medication because I know how serious custody is and I don't want to make any jokes about it. But just as an analogy, knowing that it's not that serious, I felt like I was like a kid wondering which parent was the right one when they were saying mean things about each other. Not mean, well, yeah, sort of. So, I mean, I know it's not that severe, but that's the analogy that just immediately came to my mind, and in a fictional sense, not in reality, because I know that's hard for kids. It's hard for parents. Not to diminish that at all. So I'll go in tomorrow. We'll get that straightened out. I have some additional questions that I want to ask tomorrow too, but more about that in a different video. I think I have mentioned it already in a video that I made that hasn't posted yet or loaded or uploaded or whatever. So this is the experience I've had from 3 weeks thus far on compounded tirzepatide with no additional medications in it, as opposed to Zepbound. I'm going to start with the tirzepatide. So I expected coming out of Zepbound for it to be pretty much the same. And a lot of it was the same. But the tirzepatide, I'm going to go ahead and say, did not give me the level of appetite suppression I had on the regular Zepbound shot from Eli Lilly, directly from me. It's all from Eli Lilly, but directly from Eli Lilly. It just didn't. I mean, it was the same dosage. It's 5 milligrams. I'm thinking I need to go up to 7.5 to 7.5 milligrams. And honestly, I think that may be the issue. I think the issue is that I need to move up because I've been on this medication since December of 2023. And I really do think I've lost over 60 pounds. And I really believe that I hung out in 2 doses. I was fortunate enough. I am a person at this point in my life. I'm 56 years old. I lose the weight more slowly than I used to. I'm in the turtle club. I'm turtly enough for the turtle club, apparently. But I'm fine with that. A pound a week is just fine. But it had started to stall and plateau. Well, one of the things I think I was doing incorrectly, and I think I may still have to work on this, is I'm not eating enough. And I will say, even without, I was pretty happy because even without the appetite suppression being as strong as it was when I was really going on my Zepbound, or when that dosage was working for me, whatever it was. My kitty cat is probably going to be with us in just a second. I'm going to move my water over here. Hey, Tiggy. Hey, girly. So anyway, I really do think that just with the experience of that, it probably is the dosage, because I did get the appetite suppression on the tirzepatide, so it just wasn't lasting for as long. But I honestly think that might have been happening the last shot I had with Zepbound. Here she is. Hey, say hey, Tiggy. Say hey. Oh, she's like, no, I don't want to say hi. I just want to sit in your lap. So girl, settle down. I've got a computer in my lap and she's not happy. about that. She's like, there's not enough room for me. I'm sorry, that's too close. So to keep my mind on, which is sometimes really difficult because I have a stutter and ADD. So those are two things that can be an issue moving into train of thought. So, yeah, I think that maybe it's just the dosage and not necessarily the delivery or the way that, whether it's compounded or I'm getting it directly from the Eli Lilly pen. So we'll see on that. I don't know if they'll write me a 5 for a week and then have me move up to 7.5 because I will have been without my shot for a few days probably by the time I get the prescription. So we'll see. I'll let you know what happens on that. But the compounded version did still give me the side effects of nausea and the FERPs, the sulfur burps, deep from the pit of HE double hockey sticks. And you know, I didn't have constipation or diarrhea or a lot of the things that other people deal with. I did initially have a little bit of gastric distress when, I mean, other than the FERPs, right? And I do get bloated somewhat if I don't drink enough water and get enough protein. Those have been, in another video I say, those have been the two most important things, enough water and enough protein. And by enough water, at least 80, preferably 120 ounces for me. Check with your doctor and make sure what's healthy for you. But for me, that's the healthy spot, right? At least 80 ounces, but you know, up to 120 is fine for me. And again, check with your doctor. And, you know, getting enough sleep and also, but the protein. So for me, I try to get at least 100 grams of protein a day. My Noom, I use Noom to help me. And if you want to know more about that, it's just Noom. You can look it up on Google and it should give you all the information. And I discussed that in other videos too. But with the water and the protein, and again, check protein with your doctor to see what's safe for you. If I keep those where they should be, the gastric distress is minimal. I might have a wave of nausea. I never had morning sickness when I was pregnant. My husband had my morning sickness for me. We call him the disembodied voice on this channel. So I think that's probably maybe a little bit just from listening to my friends who've had morning sickness talk about it, how it may have felt, the kind of nausea, and it came in waves and not even as serious as morning sickness, I'm sure. But that's really pretty much along with fatigue, but the fatigue kind of stopped happening after a while with the Zepbound, so it was a side effect that wore off. I feel a little fatigue, but not bone-crushing fatigue, and to be honest, it's kind of hard to tell because I already have some fatigue with the condition I have that my disability is the result of, my mobility disability. So again, I mean, I have seen the difference has been, I really don't think I had as much appetite suppression, but what we have to figure out is it the difference between the Zepbound that comes in the pen from Eli Lilly, or is it in the compounded Tirzepatide, or is it the dose? Was the dose starting to get a little bit less than it needed to be for me? At the end, when I used my last pen with Zepbound, I kind of remember feeling that way. But I try not to focus on that. I try to just stay within my own discipline, even if the appetite suppression is not there as much as I need it to be, and give myself a chance to get full. But if that's when I talk to the nurse practitioner, we'll make a decision about that and about how we need to handle dosing, and I will let you know. So let me know what you think. If you've used it, that's great. If you've used the compounded Tirzepatide after having used Zepbound in the pen from Eli Lilly, or if you're using the vials from Eli Lilly or have used them, do you get a different experience? If you're just using one or the other, have you noticed that you've gotten to a point where the dosing may not be high enough anymore? Again, this entire time, I've only gotten up to the 5 milligram. And a lot of people, by the time they've gotten to where I am, having been on it again since December of 2023, this is March of 2025, would be up to at least 7.5, if not 10. So I'd like to, milligrams. So I'd like to know what your experiences are. I hope you're doing so well with the medication. It has helped me so much, and any kind of help was better than no help at all. Because, you know, I'm just going to say it. Obesity is a disease. It's a chronic disease. I don't make enough free GLPZs, right? So that's what happens. And you can see it consistently in my family. It's genetic for us. On my mother's side of the family, it was a genetic issue, and it was just so clear. Never getting full, never feeling full, not being able to eat as much as other typically sized people would, standard sized people would be able to eat without gaining weight, so not as much maybe calorific burn. It's a specific mechanism that's come under a lot of scrutiny from the medical field across the world, around, it's not across, it's around the world, and around both ways. People have really developed. Hey, Tiggs, do y'all want to see Tiggs? Hey, Tiggle. This is Tiggy. She's so sweet. I hope you got a glance at her eyes. Her eyes are just gorgeous. Tiggy, look. Will you look? Can you look over here? Oh, she's so beautiful. She's just a pretty kitty all the way around. But we know this, right? And so I am in a future video going to talk more about that academic side of it, just because I am an academic. I'm a silly goose. That's the bottom line. I'm a silly goose. But for a living, for my day job, I'm an academic. I teach English at a college, and I'm also a sociologist, and I specialize in the area of leadership with an emphasis on literacy and learning literacy and literature in general, and with an emphasis on servant leadership, oppression, and poverty. So those are my major areas. And then, of course, just English literature written in the English language in general. And so research is one of the things that I do best, I think. And qualitative research is my favorite, but I also do quantitative research. That's the difference between lived experiences and counting things. Qualitative is measuring lived experiences as best you can, and quantitative is numbers, statistics, that sort of thing. So what I'll probably end up, I'm petting my kitty, she's so sweet. What I'll probably end up doing is a deeper dive, because usually when I'm doing the research for the videos, it's about fun stuff. Like if you watch other videos, I'm looking up artists whose paintings I see prints of in the thrift store, or seeing whether or not local people who've done paintings and dropped them off have been influenced by any particular style of art, or I'm talking about books, or I'm talking about little free libraries, or I'm talking about other things, the paint color in my studio. We're doing 5-minute exercise challenges for those for whom it's safe to exercise. But I am going to do a video on some really deep dive qualitative research, lived experience research, and medical research that has been done by scientists based on obesity and the rise of GLP-1 agonists, GLP-1 medications, like Zepbound Tirzepatide, which is the same thing, and Mounjaro, which is the same thing as tirzepatide as well. Just one is for weight loss and the other is for diabetes. And then Wegovy, Ozempic, Saxenda, which I don't hear a lot of people talking about as much anymore. That's an everyday shot, and I did that for a little while too. So I'll do more really good deep dive qualitative and a little quantitative as well research about that, and report back to the group. I hope that this video has been helpful. Please do share any experiences you feel comfortable sharing in the comments. I hope you know how loved you are, how lovable you are right now. You don't have to change for people to love you. Please don't, because we love you the way that you are. Only make the changes that will add quality to your life. And please do go in peace and love to serve others. And please do pray for Ukraine.